Today I'm going to talk about 3 action items that I really try to focus on during the at-bat. And last time I got into the 3 mechanical items that I focus on, and this is more or less the next step that really comes into during an at-bat. And one of the things I really like to focus on from coaches during an at-bat is really try to stay away from yelling anything mechanical to the players. You know, hey, get your hands up, stay back, all that stuff. Because once you start yelling mechanical items, and all of a sudden that hitter starts getting a little bit more away from what he should be trying to do as a hitter. And I'll get into the approach and stuff like that when the time comes. But one thing I want coaches to stay away from is yelling anything mechanical to the player where I was hitting. So that gets me back to the 3 action items that I really try to focus on. And these are all almost related to the mechanics, but it really helps keep that swing a little more in line with what we're trying to do. So the first action item that I really try to focus on with all hitters is trying to stay behind the baseball. And a big issue with a lot of young hitters is you see this all the time where they're here and all of a sudden that weight gets a little too far out. I call that anxious hitting. Hitters want to hurry up and hit instead of letting that ball come to them a little bit more. So the more a hitter can let that ball come to them, and there's a few different phrases that a lot of coaches use: let it get deep, stay back, whatever. That is, truly the number one part of hitting is let that ball come to you and letting that swing work. So there's one key drill I like to do that. There's a couple drills that really kind of help with that. This one I like quite a bit. If you can remember the stride holds last time, that helps with this as well. But this is called the wide base, no stride drill. Okay, so we're going to go extra wide base, and we're not going to stride. We're going to really focus on trying to keep that head and that body centered the whole time. And if you have your players doing this, really focus on trying to almost getting rid of that lower half, and we're just trying to really separate those hands again like we talked about before, and then again swinging through with a fast, aggressive swing, but now we're focusing on trying to keep that head and that body as still as we can. One issue a lot of young hitters have with this is they're here and all of a sudden they want to jump out there to try to hit it with their body to create that swing, and that's what we want to stay away from. So as a coach, if you're watching this, really focus on trying to keep that body as still as you can and accelerating through. So here's just a little bit of what it'll look like, and we just want to keep that body still, just like that. And I don't want to stride, but it's okay to turn that backside a little bit on the follow through. That's not a problem. But the key is trying to control that body, and we're hitting here, not out there to try to make contact. So good drill, a drill I really like with trying to keep that body centered. Okay. The second action item that I really try to focus on, the next 2 are going to be a little more in-depth, a little more advanced, but they are an integral part of how that swing is going to work. Okay. The second one is I want to attack that inside part of the baseball. So what that means, if I'm hitting here as a left-handed hitter, I want to hit that part that's closest to me. A lot of young players, more often than not, they're going to hit that outside part of the baseball, and what causes that is the hands come out, hands come around, you hit that outside part of the ball. So as a hitter, the more you can focus on attacking that inside part of the ball with an aggressive, fast swing, that's going to give you a better chance of the results that we want to have with that good contact. So a drill I like to do with this, I'm not going to hit it, but I'll show you what I like. So this is where I like to set up the tee to hit. Okay, I call this the inside drill. Inside tee drill, I just move that tee to the front corner of that plate. And now as a hitter, all you're trying to do is hit that pitch back up the middle by trying to keep those hands inside as long as you can. It's a little advanced, it's quite a bit advanced for some of the younger players, but they can really start understanding how those hands should work in driving right to that ball. And usually when I do this, the first few times they're coming out and around, and then they kind of figure out how those hands should be attacking that inside part of the ball a little bit more. So that's a good drill to do when you can. And even with some of the older guys, I even get a longer bat, a fungo bat, and really try to challenge them a little bit more, so they have to use those hands a little bit differently. So there's different variations you can do. The third action item is I want to hit through that baseball or extend through that baseball. And again, a lot of young hitters, when you watch them swing, they get to that point of contact pretty good. They're here. Next thing you know, they cut their swing off and everything comes out and around. So that's a big issue with young hitters. And what I like to talk about is I want to get to that point of contact, I want to drive through it, and then let that bat finish around. If you watch just about any major league hitter in slow motion, after contact they're going to get here, and then that bat is going to be pointed back to the pitcher, back to center field, wherever, then they're going to finish. And if you start watching young hitters, a lot of them will get to here and then they cut that off. And so it's a very important part of the swing to really get an efficient drive, and after that efficient contact, to hit that ball hard is getting that extension or hitting through that ball. So a drill I really like, probably one of my favorite drills off the tee, is the extension drill. And I'll just show you this way. So if I'm hitting this way, and that's the normal spot I'm going to hit off the tee right here, all I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to move that contact point out about 4 to 6 inches. So instead of trying to hit the ball here, I'm making it a point to try to get that position out a little farther with my bat. Okay? And again, this is a very advanced drill. Even some of the older guys I work with, when they still do this, they still want to come out and around and they hit it straight to the pull side. So it works on two things. It kind of works on action item number 2 and 3, where you have to attack that inside part of the ball and still stay through it a little bit longer. Okay? Now, an issue that usually comes about is they want to get out there, and again, we're getting back to action item number 1, where they want to get out there and try to reach for it instead of really trying to keep that body controlled and let those hands go get it. Okay, so here's kind of what it'll look like. I'm here, just like that. So try to get that extension out a little farther and then let that swing carry you around. So the 3 mechanical items that I talked about, and then the 3 action items involved with your swing during an at-bat, once they start getting tied together, then that's going to lead to a pretty efficient swing when all said and done to give you the best chance of that good contact that we can do.